Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Titan, watching the stars through the main screen. The ship hung silent in space beyond Neptune, hidden from all eyes except those who built her. 15 years had passed since humanity first met the aliens of the Galactic Coalition. 15 years of being told they were too young, too weak, too stupid to matter. Today that would change. The Titan was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Her hull stretched 2 miles from bow to stern, covered in quantum crystalline armor that could adapt to any weapon fired at it. The metal seemed to shift and flow like liquid when Jake touched the wall. Responding to his presence, Dr. Lisa Grant had designed the armor to learn from each attack, becoming stronger with every hit. "Captain, all systems are ready for final testing," Commander Ryan Bell said from his position at the tactical station. Ryan had served with Jake for 8 years, ever since the Coalition first restricted human military development. They both remembered the humiliation of being forced to scrap their old fleet and accept alien peacekeepers in their space. Jake walked to the center of the bridge, where a strange chair waited. The Neuralink command system was another human innovation that the aliens would never understand. While Coalition ships needed dozens of crew members to operate their weapons, the Titan could be controlled by a single mind connected to her systems. Jake sat down and felt the gentle touch of the neural interface connecting to his thoughts. "Beginning resonance drive test," Engineer Maria Santos announced from the engine room through the comm system. Maria had spent 5 years designing the ship's most secret weapon. The resonance drive didn't just bend space like alien ships did. It tore holes through the barriers between dimensions, allowing the Titan to appear anywhere in space instantly. The ship seemed to vibrate for a moment, then suddenly they were 10,000 miles away from where they started. Jake felt the movement through the neural link like flexing a muscle. The aliens used massive computers and complex calculations to jump through space. Humans had learned to do it by instinct and willpower. "Perfect jump, Captain," Maria reported, excitement clear in her voice. "The drive is working better than our best simulations. We can make jumps of up to 50 light years without any preparation time." Dr. Lisa Grant approached Jake's command chair, her face showing both pride and worry. Lisa had created the Titan's most controversial system, the one that would change everything. The nullifier array was mounted along the ship's spine, a weapon that didn't destroy targets in the normal way. Instead of firing energy or projectiles, it created small tears in reality itself, erasing whatever it targeted from existence. "The nullifier is ready for combat testing," Lisa said quietly. "But Jake, I need to warn you again about the side effects. Each time we use it, we're damaging the fabric of space itself. The tears heal, but slowly. If we use the weapon too much in one area, we might cause permanent damage." Jake nodded, understanding the risk. The Coalition had forced humanity into this corner with their restrictions and threats. Earth's colonies had been seized, her people enslaved for mining work, her ships destroyed whenever they tried to defend themselves. The Titan represented 15 years of secret work, hidden construction, and desperate hope. "Admiral Kevin Hayes is requesting final clearance for the mission," Ryan reported. Kevin commanded all of Earth's remaining military forces from his hidden base in the asteroid belt. He had been Jake's mentor years ago, teaching him that sometimes peaceful solutions weren't possible when dealing with bullies. Jake activated the comm system through his neural link. "Admiral Hayes, this is Captain Morrison. The Titan is ready for her first mission. All systems are operating beyond expected parameters." "Understood, Captain." Kevin's voice came through the speakers. "Coalition intelligence has been sniffing around the outer system. Our spy networks report that an alien operative named Zeth has detected unusual energy readings from our construction sites. It's time to move before they discover what we've built." The plan was simple and dangerous. The Titan would emerge from hiding and head toward the Centauri system, where Coalition patrol fleets regularly harassed human trading ships. Jake's orders were to make contact with the aliens and attempt diplomatic discussion. When they inevitably refused to negotiate, humanity would show them what human engineering could accomplish. "Dr. Grant, how long can we operate at full power?" Jake asked, through the neural link. "The quantum crystalline armor can adapt to any known weapon type after the first few hits," Lisa replied. "The resonance drive has enough stored energy for hundreds of jumps. The nullifier array is the unknown factor. We have enough power for maybe 50 full-strength shots, but each one risks tearing holes in space that might not heal properly." Jake felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders. The Titan carried not just advanced weapons and armor, but the hopes of every human in the galaxy. If this mission failed, Earth would face total slavery under alien rule. If it succeeded, humanity would prove they deserved respect as equals among the stars. "All crew members, prepare for departure," Jake announced through the ship's comm system. "Today, we show the galaxy that humans refuse to kneel. Today we prove that our species will never accept oppression, no matter how many ships the aliens send against us." The Titan's engines came to life with a low hum that Jake felt through his bones. Through the neural link, he could sense every system on the ship, every weapon ready for combat, every piece of armor prepared to protect his crew. The ship felt like an extension of his own body, responding to his thoughts and emotions as they moved away from their hiding place behind Neptune. Jake watched Earth appear on the main screen. The blue planet looked small and fragile compared to the vast coalition fleets that patrolled nearby space, but appearances could be deceiving. Humanity had learned that lesson from the aliens themselves, who had underestimated human determination and creativity for 15 long years. The Titan accelerated toward the edge of the solar system, carrying with it the most advanced weapon ever built by human hands. Behind them lay Earth, waiting to see if her children could break the chains of galactic oppression. Ahead lay the unknown, where alien fleets waited without knowing that everything was about to change forever. The Titan dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Centauri system, her massive form appearing like a ghost among the stars. Captain Jake Morrison felt the ship's systems through his neural link as they scanned the area for coalition patrols. They didn't have to wait long. "Contact bearing 27 Mark 8, Commander Ryan Bell announced from his tactical station. 12 coalition vessels in standard patrol formation. Ship types include 4 Zephyrian crystal cruisers, 3 gas giant destroyers, and 5 standard coalition patrol boats." Jake studied the enemy formation through the Titan's sensors. The aliens were spread out in a wide net, typical of their patrol patterns designed to catch human smugglers and traders. Their ships gleamed with the advanced metals and energy shields that had dominated galactic warfare for thousands of years. They had no idea what approached them. "Open communications," Jake ordered through his neural link. The coalition ships would see the Titan now, but they wouldn't understand what they were looking at. Human ship designs were different from alien vessels, focusing on function over the decorative curves and colors that other species preferred. The main screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the lead coalition cruiser. Commander Yinthera, a tall reptilian Zephyrian, stared at the display with obvious confusion. His crystalline skin reflected the bridge lights as he tried to process what his sensors were telling him. "Unknown human vessel, you are in violation of coalition space restrictions," Yinthara hissed through his translator. "Your ship appears to be using prohibited technology. Prepare for immediate boarding and inspection, or face destruction." Jake remained calm, knowing this moment would determine everything that followed. "Coalition Commander, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earth ship Titan. We request permission to pass through this system peacefully. We have no hostile intentions toward coalition forces." The alien commander's eyes narrowed with suspicion and arrogance. "Human vessels are restricted to primitive propulsion systems and basic defensive weapons only. Your ship clearly violates these treaties." You will power down your engines and submit to boarding immediately. This is not a request. Through his neural link, Jake felt Commander Ryan Bell preparing the ship's weapon systems. The nullifier array powered up silently, its reality warping generators creating small distortions in space around the Titan. Dr. Lisa Grant monitored the weapon from her science station, watching for signs of the dimensional stress that worried her so much. "I'm afraid we cannot comply with your boarding request," Jake replied calmly. "The Titan is on a peaceful mission, but we will defend ourselves if attacked. I suggest you contact your superiors before taking any hostile action." Commander Yin let out a sound that might have been laughter if reptiles could laugh. "One primitive human ship against 12 coalition vessels. Your species' arrogance continues to amaze me. All ships, prepare to disable the human vessel. We'll drag their wreckage back for study." The coalition ships moved into attack formation with practiced efficiency. Energy weapons charged to life across their hulls as they surrounded the Titan in a sphere of deadly firepower. Jake felt no fear, only cold determination, as he prepared to show the galaxy what humans could accomplish when pushed too far. "Weapons free," Jake ordered through the neural link. "Commander Bell, engage at your discretion." The battle began in an instant of blinding light and impossible movement. The Titan's resonance drive activated, tearing a hole through dimensional space. That allowed the ship to appear directly behind the coalition formation. The alien ship spun in confusion, trying to track a target that moved by rules they didn't understand. The nullifier array fired its first shot at the closest Zephyrian cruiser. Instead of the normal flash of energy weapons, space simply twisted, and the sphere of nothingness expanded around the alien ship. The cruiser didn't explode or break apart. It simply ceased to exist, leaving behind empty space where a mighty coalition warship had been moments before. "Impossible," Commander Yinthara whispered, his crystalline face showing the first signs of real fear. "No weapon can completely destroy matter like that. What kind of technology are these humans using?" The remaining coalition ships opened fire with everything they had, sending hundreds of energy beams and missiles toward the Titan. The quantum crystalline armor absorbed the first impacts, analyzing each weapon type and adapting to counter them. By the third volley, the alien weapons were barely scratching the hull. Engineer Maria Santos monitored the ship's performance from her station in the engine room. The resonance drive was performing even better than expected, allowing the Titan to jump across the battlefield faster than the aliens could track. Each jump took them behind enemy ships or inside their formations, where the nullifier array could target them at close range. "Second target locked," Commander Bell reported through the tactical link. Another sphere of nothingness expanded, and an Afari destroyer simply vanished from existence. The remaining aliens were starting to panic, their formation breaking apart as they tried to escape the impossible human. Weapon. Dr. Lisa Grant watched her instruments with growing concern. Each shot from the nullifier array was creating small tears in the fabric of space itself. The tears were healing, but slowly, and she could detect the stress building in the quantum field around them. If they used the weapon too many times in one location, they might cause permanent damage to reality itself. The coalition patrol boats tried to run, their primitive engines no match for the Titan's incredible speed. The resonance drive allowed the human ship to appear in front of them, cutting off their escape routes. Jake felt almost sorry for the alien crews, as they realized there was nowhere to hide from humanity's wrath. "Please, Commander Yin begged over the communication channel. "We surrender. Don't destroy us like the others. We have families, children who need us to return home." Jake paused, feeling the weight of the moment. These aliens had enslaved his people, destroyed human colonies, and treated his species like animals for 15 years. But they were still living beings, and humanity had always prided itself on showing mercy to defeated enemies. "Power down your weapons and prepare to receive our terms, Jake replied. You will return to Coalition space and deliver a message to your leaders. Tell them that humanity will no longer tolerate oppression. Tell them we demand equal treatment among the galactic community. The surviving Coalition ships lowered their shields and powered down their weapons in surrender. Jake could feel their fear through the ship's sensors, the terror of beings who had thought themselves superior, discovering they were outmatched by the species they had dismissed as primitive. Maria, begin recording everything that just happened, Jake ordered through the neural link. I want detailed sensor logs of every weapon impact, every movement we made, every alien ship we destroyed. This information needs to reach Earth Command immediately. Engineer Maria Santos began compiling the battle data while monitoring Coalition communication channels. Panic was already spreading through their networks as news of the encounter reached alien command centers across the galaxy. The impossible had happened. Humans had not only fought back, but had completely dominated a superior alien force as the Titan prepared to leave the battlefield. Dr. Grant approached Jake's command chair with her final readings. The quantum stress from the nullifier array is within acceptable limits, she reported. But Jake, we need to be careful. If we keep using this weapon at full power, we'll start causing irreversible damage to space itself. Jake nodded, understanding the terrible responsibility they carried. The Titan possessed the power to destroy entire fleets. But that power came with consequences that could affect the entire galaxy. As they jumped away from Centauri, leaving the surviving Coalition ships to spread word of their defeat, Jake knew that humanity had crossed a line from which there could be no return. News of the Centauri battles spread across the galaxy like wildfire, reaching every Coalition world within hours of the encounter. Supreme Commander Vorthax stood in the war room of the Coalition flagship, staring at the tactical displays that showed the impossible. A single human ship had destroyed 2 of the galaxy's most advanced warships and forced an entire patrol fleet to surrender. The Supreme Commander's forearms gestured at the holographic displays, while his scaled hide changed colors to show his rage and disbelief. Vorthax had commanded Coalition forces for over 2 centuries, crushing dozens of rebellions and maintaining galactic peace through superior firepower. No single ship should be able to challenge the might of the Coalition fleet. Bring me every piece of data we have on this human weapon, Vorthax ordered his staff officers. I want to know how they built something capable of completely erasing matter from existence. I want to know how their ship moves faster than our sensors can track. Most importantly, I want to know if they can build more ships like this one, Captain. Jake Morrison sat in his Neuralink chair aboard the Titan, monitoring Coalition communications through their advanced listening systems. Engineer Maria Santos had managed to crack most of the alien communication codes, allowing them to hear the panic spreading through enemy command centers. The aliens were mobilizing the largest fleet in galactic history, specifically to hunt down one human ship. They're pulling ships from 17 different sectors, Maria reported from her station. Current count shows 300 vessels converging on human space. Everything from fast scouts to heavy battleships. They're not taking any chances this time. Commander Ryan Bell studied the tactical data flowing across his screens. The numbers were overwhelming even for a ship as advanced as the Titan. While they had proven they could destroy individual alien vessels with ease, 300 ships attacking at once would be a different challenge entirely. Captain, we can't face that many ships in direct combat, Ryan said through the neural link. Even with our advantages, they'll eventually overwhelm our defenses through sheer numbers. We need a different strategy. Jake felt the weight of command pressing down on him like a physical force. The Titan carried not just advanced weapons and armor, but the hopes of every human in the galaxy. If this mission failed, Earth would face total destruction under alien rule. The Coalition had made it clear they would no longer tolerate human independence after the Centauri incident. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster joined a discussion from her position in the Marine Command Center. Amy had spent years studying coalition tactics and weaknesses, preparing for the day when humanity would finally fight back against their oppressors. Her knowledge would be crucial in the battles to come. Their fleet composition is actually a weakness we can exploit, Amy observed. Ships from 17 different species means 17 different command protocols, communication systems, and tactical doctrines. They'll have trouble coordinating their attacks effectively. Dr. Lisa Grant approached Jake's command chair with a datapad containing her analysis of the Coalition fleet movements. Her face showed the strain of working around the clock to understand the full scope of their situation. The quantum physicist, who had designed humanity's most powerful weapon, now faced the challenge of using it responsibly. "I've been studying their ship types and energy signatures," Lisa explained. "The Zephyrian crystal ships operate on different frequencies than the Nefari gas giant vessels. If we can create interference patterns that disrupt their communications, we can turn their diversity against them." Jake felt a plan beginning to form in his mind. The Titan couldn't win a direct battle against 300 ships, but it could use hit-and-run tactics to destroy the Coalition fleet piece by piece. The resonance drive would allow them to appear anywhere on the battlefield instantly, strike at vulnerable targets, and disappear before the enemy could respond effectively. "Maria, begin plotting jump coordinates for the outer systems," Jake ordered through the neural link. "We're going to make them chase us across half the galaxy while we pick apart their supply lines and support vessels. They want a hunt, we'll give them one they'll never forget." On Earth, Director Paul Wright coordinated the evacuation of critical personnel and technology from the planet's surface. Paul had overseen the Titan project from the beginning, managing the secret construction and resource allocation that made the ship possible. Now he faced the terrible possibility that all their work might not be enough to save humanity from galactic retaliation. All construction data for the Titan project has been destroyed, Paul reported to Admiral Kevin Hayes during their encrypted communication. "If the ship is captured or destroyed, the aliens won't be able to reverse engineer our technology. The knowledge exists only in the minds of her crew." The Coalition fleet began arriving at the edges of human space within days of the mobilization order. Supreme Commander Vorthax established his command post on the massive dreadnought Victory of Stars, a ship so large it carried its own fighter squadrons and support vessels. The Supreme Commander was taking no chances with the human threat. Jake watched the enemy fleet movements through the Titan's long-range sensors, studying their patterns and formations. The aliens were setting up a careful net designed to trap his ship and prevent it from escaping to other star systems. They had learned from the Centauri encounter and weren't going to underestimate human capabilities again. "First target acquired," Commander Bell reported from the tactical station. "Coalition supply convoy heading for the main fleet rendezvous. 6 cargo vessels with minimal escort, perfect target for our opening strike." The Titan tore through dimensional space using her resonance drive, appearing alongside the Coalition convoy in a flash of twisted reality. The alien escort ships barely had time to raise their shields before the nullifier array fired its first shots of the new campaign. 2 escort vessels simply vanished from existence, leaving behind empty space and terrified cargo ship crews. "This is Coalition Transport Captain Nextool," came a panicked transmission from the lead cargo ship. "We are under attack by the human superweapon. Ship is capable of reality-warping movement and weapons that erase matter from existence. Requesting immediate assistance." Jake felt no satisfaction in terrorizing the supply crews, but this was war and they had chosen their side when they helped enforce human slavery. The Titan disabled the cargo ship's engines with precise shots from conventional weapons, leaving them stranded but alive. The supplies meant for Coalition battle fleets would never reach their destination. Dr. Grant monitored the quantum stress readings as they jumped away from the convoy battle. Each use of the nullifier array created small tears in space-time that healed slowly. The weapon was incredibly effective, but it came with consequences that could affect the entire galaxy if used carelessly. Quantum field stability is holding within acceptable parameters, Lisa reported, but we need to be strategic about where and when we use the array. If we concentrate too many shots in one area, we risk creating permanent damage to the fabric of space itself. The Coalition fleet reacted quickly to the convoy attack, sending fast scouts to investigate while heavy battleships moved to intercept the Titan. Supreme Commander Vorthax was learning to respect human unpredictability, but he still believed that superior numbers would eventually triumph over advanced technology. Jake studied the enemy response patterns through his neural link connection to the ship's sensors. The aliens were adapting their tactics, spreading their forces wider and using multiple communication frequencies to coordinate their movements. They were learning from each encounter, which meant the Titan would have to keep evolving its own strategies. Next target is a forward observation post in the Kepler system, Amy Foster suggested, from her tactical analysis station. Small garrison, force monitoring human shipping routes. Taking it out will blind them to our movements in that sector. The hunt had begun in earnest, with the most powerful fleet in galactic history pursuing a single human ship across the stars. Jake knew they couldn't run forever, and eventually they would have to face the full might of the Coalition military. But until that moment came, they would make every enemy ship pay a terrible price for underestimating human determination and ingenuity. The cat-and-mouse game had lasted 3 weeks, with the Titan striking at Coalition supply lines and observation posts across a dozen star systems. Captain Jake Morrison felt the strain of constant combat through his neural link as enemy forces closed in from all directions. Supreme Commander Vorthax had learned from each encounter, adapting his tactics to counter human advantages. Coalition forces are tightening the noose, Commander Ryan Bell reported from his tactical station. They've positioned gravity well generators at key jump points, trying to trap us in normal space where we can't use the resonance drive effectively. Admiral Crestar is coordinating the trap from his command ship in the Vega system. Jake studied the tactical displays showing enemy fleet positions across local space. The aliens had finally learned to work together effectively, with Zephyrian crystal ships providing long-range sensors, while Nefari gas giant vessels generated the gravity wells that could prevent dimensional jumping. 200 Coalition vessels were converging on their position in a carefully planned ambush. Dr. Lisa Grant approached Jake's command chair with her latest analysis of the nullifier array's quantum effects. Her face showed deep concern as she reviewed the data from weeks of combat operations. Each shot from the reality-warping weapon had created small tears in space-time, and those tears were taking longer to heal with each battle. "Jake, I've discovered something important about the array," Lisa said quietly. "The quantum tears we've been creating aren't just healing slowly, they're resonating with each other across multiple star systems. If we continue using the weapon at current rates, we might trigger a cascade effect that could damage space-time permanently." Through his Neuralink, Jake felt the weight of impossible choices pressing down on his consciousness. The Titan had proven herself capable of destroying individual coalition ships with ease, but 200 vessels attacking in coordinated formation would overwhelm even their advanced defenses. They needed a decisive victory, but the cost might be higher than anyone could imagine. "What are our options?" Jake asked, through the neural connection he shared with his senior staff. The question reached every key officer simultaneously, allowing them to coordinate their response in seconds, rather than minutes. Engineer Maria Santos monitored the approaching Coalition fleet from her station in the engine room. The aliens had positioned their ships in a perfect sphere formation around the Vega system, with gravity well generators preventing any dimensional jumps within a light year of their location. The trap was well planned and professionally executed. The resonance drive can't function properly with this much gravitational interference, Maria reported. will be limited to normal space movement and conventional tactics. Against these numbers, even our adaptive armor won't hold out for long under concentrated fire. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster studied the Coalition battle formation through the ship's tactical sensors. Admiral Crestar had arranged his forces with mathematical precision, ensuring that no matter which direction the Titan tried to break out, it would face overwhelming firepower from multiple angles. The alien commander had learned well from previous encounters. They're using a modified Catharian battlesphere, Amy observed. Classic formation for trapping single powerful opponents. No weak points. Overlapping fields of fire. Continuous rotation to prevent concentrated attacks on any single section. Whoever's commanding that fleet knows what they're doing. Jake felt the first impacts against the Titan's hull as Coalition long-range weapons began their bombardment. The quantum crystalline armor adapted quickly to each weapon type, but the sheer volume of incoming fire was beginning to overwhelm the ship's defensive systems. Warning alarms echoed through the corridors as damage reports flooded the neural network. Hull integrity holding at 85%, reported Chief Engineer Santos from her damage control station. Armor adaptation is working, but they're rotating weapon frequencies to prevent full countermeasures. If this continues, we'll lose structural integrity within the hour. Dr. Grant made a desperate decision based on her weeks of studying the nullifier array's quantum mechanics. The weapon could be modified for a single massive discharge instead of individual shots, creating an expanding sphere of nothingness large enough to consume an entire fleet. The cost would be a permanent tear in space-time, but it might be their only chance for survival. Jake, I can reconfigure the array for one final shot, Lisa announced through the neural link. Maximum power discharge, Wydaria effect. It would eliminate everything within a 10 light-minute radius. But the quantum backlash would create a permanent rift in space-time. The damage might spread to nearby star systems. The Coalition bombardment intensified as Admiral Crestar ordered his ships to close formation and concentrate their fire. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles struck the Titan's hull every second, testing the limits of human engineering. The ship shuddered under impacts that would have vaporized any other vessel in the galaxy. "Decision time, Captain," Commander Bell announced as another wave of enemy fire rocked the ship. "We can try to fight our way out conventionally and probably die in the attempt. Or we can use Dr. Grant's modified weapon and risk damaging space itself permanently." Jake closed his eyes and felt the ship around him through the neural link, sensing every system, every crew member, every piece of armor struggling to protect them from annihilation. The Titan represented 15 years of human hope and determination. But she also carried a weapon that could threaten the fabric of reality itself. Through the tactical display, Jake watched Coalition ships moving into final attack positions. Admiral Crestar was taking no chances, positioning his heaviest battleships for point-blank bombardment, while keeping support vessels ready to prevent any escape attempt. The alien commander intended to capture or destroy the human superweapon, once and for all. "Do it," Jake ordered, through the neural link. "Reconfigure the array for maximum discharge. If we're going to die here, we'll take half their fleet with us and show them the true cost of trying to enslave humanity." Dr. Grant's hands flew over her control panels as she began the dangerous process of modifying the nullifier array for its final shot. The quantum generators that normally created small reality tiers were being linked together into a single massive discharge system. Warning lights flashed across her console as power levels climbed far beyond safe operational limits. "Array modification complete," Lisa reported. "One shot, maximum power, wide area effect. The quantum backlash will be unprecedented, but it should eliminate everything within the target zone." Jake felt the modified weapon charging through his neural connection to the ship's systems. The nullifier array hummed with barely contained power as reality warping energies built to critical levels. Around them, Coalition ships continued their bombardment. unaware that they were about to face a weapon capable of erasing entire fleets from existence. "All crew members, brace for quantum discharge," Jake announced through the ship's communication system. "We're about to show the galaxy what happens when humanity is pushed too far." The nullifier array fired its single massive shot into the center of the Coalition battlesphere. Instead of the usual localized reality tier, space itself seemed to unravel in an expanding sphere of absolute nothingness. Coalition ships simply vanished as the expanding field touched them, erased from existence without explosion or debris. But the weapon's backlash was immediate and terrifying. The quantum field around the Titan began to collapse as space-time itself reacted to the massive reality tier. Jake felt the ship being pulled into a dimensional vortex that threatened to trap them outside normal space forever. "The rift is expanding. Beyond our control," Dr. Grant shouted over alarms that screamed throughout the ship. "We have to seal it before it consumes the entire star system." Jake made the ultimate command decision, using the resonance drive to push the Titan into the quantum rift itself. If they could collapse the tear from inside, they might save the galaxy from permanent damage. The cost would be their own existence. In normal space-time, but some sacrifices were worth making to protect others. 6 months after the Battle of Vega, Coalition scientists stood at the edge of the quantum anomaly that had consumed both the human superweapon and half of Admiral Crestar's fleet. The space where the Titan had made her final stand showed readings that defied all known physics, a wound in reality that seemed to pulse with temporal energy. Supreme Commander Vorthax reviewed the final reports from the battle site aboard his flagship, struggling to understand how the humans had vanished so completely. The Coalition had achieved their primary objective of eliminating the threat to galactic peace. But the cost had been higher than anyone anticipated. 150 ships destroyed in an instant, erased from existence without a trace. The quantum readings are unlike anything we've encountered before, reported Dr. Kesanara, the Coalition's chief scientist. Space-time itself appears to have been folded around the human vessel, creating a pocket dimension outside normal physics. The energy signatures suggest the ship still exists, but in a state we cannot detect or interact with. On Earth, Director Paul Wright sat in his office reading the intelligence reports that confirmed humanity's worst fears and greatest hopes. The Titan had succeeded in proving that humans would never accept slavery, but the ship and her crew had paid the ultimate price for that victory. The Coalition blockade of Earth remained in place, but the aliens treated human space with new respect. Inside their quantum prison, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Titan, watching the galaxy age at incredible speed outside their temporal bubble. Dr. Lisa Grant had managed to stabilize their pocket dimension, but the cost was existence in accelerated time, where days inside the bubble represented years in normal space. Time differential is holding steady at approximately 1,000 to 1, Lisa reported from her science station. We're experiencing normal time flow inside the bubble, but the outside universe is aging rapidly from our perspective. I estimate we've been trapped here for subjective weeks, while decades pass in real space. Engineer Maria Santos monitored the ship's systems while studying the quantum mechanics of their strange prison. The resonance drive had saved them from destruction by folding space-time around the ship, but the same forces that protected them also prevented any return to normal space without catastrophic consequences. The temporal energy we're accumulating is building toward critical levels, Maria warned through the neural link Jake maintained with his crew. If we tried to return to normal space-time now, the energy release would sterilize everything within. Several light years were essentially a temporal bomb waiting to explode. Commander Ryan Bell studied tactical displays showing Coalition fleet movements in the accelerated time stream outside their bubble. The aliens had withdrawn from human space after the Battle of Vega, maintaining their blockade but avoiding any aggressive actions that might trigger another human response. Fear of the unknown had replaced their previous arrogance. Through the ship's sensors, they watched years pass in hours as the Coalition gradually reduced their military presence around Earth. New alien commanders took control of fleets as older officers retired or died. Political changes swept across the galaxy as species began questioning the wisdom of oppressing races capable of such devastating retaliation. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster maintained morale among the crew by organizing training exercises and study groups focused on their eventual return to normal space. The Marines aboard the Titan refused to give up hope, knowing that somehow they would find a way back to the fight for human freedom. "Captain, I've been studying the Coalition's behavioral patterns through our temporal window," Amy reported during one of their regular staff meetings. "They're treating human space like a quarantine zone now, afraid to push us too far in case another superweapon appears. Our sacrifice has bought Earth time to rebuild and prepare for the future." Dr. Grant worked around the clock studying the quantum mechanics of their prison, searching for a way to return to normal space without destroying half the galaxy in the process. The brilliant physicist, who had created humanity's most powerful weapon, now focused all her energy on finding a solution that would preserve both her crew and the innocent civilizations outside their bubble. "I think I've found an answer," Lisa announced after weeks of continuous calculation and experimentation. "We can't return all at once without catastrophic energy release, but we might be able to bleed off our temporal charge gradually over extended time periods. The process would take centuries from the outside perspective, but only months for us subjectively." Jake felt hope stirring in his chest as he reviewed Lisa's calculations through the neural link. The plan was complex and dangerous, requiring precise control of quantum forces that no human had ever attempted to manipulate. But it offered something they had thought impossible, a chance to return home without destroying everything they had fought to protect. The energy release would appear as natural stellar phenomena to outside observers, Lisa explained to the assembled crew. Solar flares, gravitational anomalies, minor space-time fluctuations spread across multiple star systems over several centuries. By the time we fully emerge from the temporal bubble, the galaxy will have adapted to a new balance of power. Through their accelerated time window, they watched Earth slowly recovering from the Coalition blockade. Human colonies that had been abandoned during the occupation were gradually resettled as alien patrols pulled back to safer distances. The fear, inspired by the Titan's final battle, had given humanity breathing room to rebuild their civilization. Director Paul Wright, now an elderly man in the outside time stream, managed to send a coded transmission toward the quantum anomaly where the Titan had vanished. The message contained updates on Earth's status and a simple request: "Come home when you can, but don't sacrifice yourselves for our sake. Earth Command is telling us to take whatever time we need," Maria translated as she decoded the transmission. "They're building a new fleet based on conventional technology, learning to defend themselves without relying on superweapons that risk tearing apart reality itself." The crew of the Titan faced their greatest test not in battle against alien fleets, but in the patient work of slowly bleeding off temporal energy, while watching their loved ones age and die in the accelerated time stream outside. Jake felt the weight of command differently now, responsible not just for his crew's lives, but for the stability of space-time itself. "Begin the gradual energy release protocol," Jake ordered through the neural link, after reviewing Lisa's final calculations. "We'll return to our own time slowly and safely, even if it takes centuries from the outside perspective. Humanity has waited this long for true freedom. They can wait a little longer." Dr. Grant initiated the complex process of controlled temporal energy release, carefully modulating their quantum bubble to allow tiny amounts of stored time to bleed back into normal space. Each release appeared as minor, stellar phenomena, a solar flare here, a gravitational wave there, natural events that would raise no alarm among Coalition scientists. Years passed in the outside universe while the Titan's crew worked to master their unique situation. They watched human civilization slowly rebuild itself, developing new technologies and diplomatic relationships based on mutual respect rather than fear. The galaxy learned to treat Earth as an equal partner rather than a subject species. Commander Bell monitored coalition military movements through their temporal window, noting how alien fleets avoided human space and treated even routine patrol missions near Earth with extreme caution. The mysterious disappearance of the human superweapon had created legends and fears that served as better protection than any fleet of conventional warships. The aliens are calling it the ghost ship phenomenon, Ryan reported during one of their regular briefings. They believe the Titan could reappear at any moment, anywhere in the galaxy. Some coalition species are demanding complete withdrawal from human space rather than risk triggering another encounter. The psychological victory was more complete than any military conquest could have been. Humanity had proven they possessed technology beyond galactic understanding and the will to use it, despite terrible consequences. The threat of the unknown kept potential aggressors at bay more effectively than any show of force. As decades passed in the outside time stream, new generations of humans grew up free from alien oppression. Children born after the Battle of Vega learned about the mysterious ship that had saved their species through sacrifice, becoming heroes and stories told across human space. The Titan had become legend even while her crew remained trapped between dimensions. Temporal energy levels have decreased to manageable levels, Dr. Grant announced after months of careful work. We can begin the final phase of our return to normal space-time. The process will take several more weeks subjectively, but will emerge in an era where humanity has learned to stand on its own. Jake felt mixed emotions as he prepared for their return to a galaxy that had moved on without them. The crew had paid a terrible price for human freedom, existing outside normal space while their families aged and died, but their sacrifice had achieved something precious, a future where humans would never again kneel before alien masters. The final return to normal space-time was gentle compared to their violent entry into the quantum bubble. Reality solidified around the Titan as she emerged from her temporal prison into a star system where human colonies thrived under their own protection. The ship that had once threatened to tear apart space itself now returned as a guardian coming home. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge watching Earth appear on the main screen, her blue surface unmarked by the scars of alien occupation. The planet looked peaceful and prosperous, protected by fleets of human-built ships that maintained order through strength rather than superweapons. They had won something more valuable than victory. They had secured a future worth fighting for. "Welcome home, Titan," came a transmission from Earth Command, now staffed by officers who had grown up hearing stories of the legendary ship. "The galaxy is a very different place than when you left. Humanity stands as equals among the stars, and we have you to thank for making that possible." Jake felt the neural link connecting him to his ship and crew as they prepared to rejoin the civilization they had fought to protect. The Titan had become more than a weapon. She was proof that some things were worth any sacrifice, and that freedom once won must be guarded by those willing to pay its price.